I'm in a weird mood today. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel depressed. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Blathering Live. Jared the Type Pilot's here. He's in the queue to calls. He's called in and he's waiting patiently. Steve is here, producer Steve Laserbolt, Crafted Jedi. I was watching what I guess I could just say is one of my favorite new YouTube channels, Trent the Traveler. He's not new, he's been around for a bit, but I've been interested in his work. I've been obsessed with this converted van thing. I'm not saying I am going to convert a van. I couldn't do that. I couldn't even change the oil on a van or a car. I don't even know how to buy the right oil. This guy, Trent the Traveler, games as well, streams his games. That worked for everyone but me. But he lives in a converted van, and I stumbled onto his videos. And, you know, he's good. Sometimes I get grumpy when I'm like, well, this guy's getting 1 million views, just lives in a van. I'm on this show fighting Elon Musk. 1 million views. He's really good at what he does. I watch all his videos, and he's just living in a van. But I was thinking of you, Laserbolt, because Forest Meets has to start. We have to launch Forest Meets, the YouTube channel. The community will be behind you, Laserbolt. Addie's here as well. People check it in. It's a Saturday show, and we'll be here for about an hour or so. Looking at how the show's going to run tonight. Some stuff up top. About 6:10, going to launch a new segment called One Musk Lie. It's a work in progress, and bear with me. I was like, I'm going to really dig in and write a little something out for that segment, really be focused. And then Mark Ellis was like, hey, you want to go to lunch? I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I just got back. We're going to take some calls, open-ended calls today. I got a Q&A. We'll get to that. 5 o'clock as we start to wrap up any super blathers. Gladly answer those, but we'll also just take more calls and your questions here. Grill me, babies, grill me. Looking to anyone checking in on Twitch. One view over there. Hi, how are you? Come on in. Maybe you're watching on Facebook. Say hi. Say hi. JMB's here. Checking in from Japan. Look at that. I'm glad to have you here live, JMB. I want to give JMB credit. JMB is great at going through episodes that are now on demand and not live, and just leaving a bunch of nice comments and engaging and helping the old algorithm in a positive manner, and we really appreciate that here. Some business up top. We're going to say goodbye to a comedy legend here in a second. Sad to hear the news there on the passing of Lynn Stewart. Going to talk about that, but I also got to handle a little bit of business as always. I am very, very close to crossing, for the first time in a long time, the century mark on paid supporters on Patreon. So if you would consider that, if you're not already a supporter. Now, look, if you're a channel member and you don't want to make the leap over, that's okay. It's okay. It's just, I'm not trying to grift you for all your spending cash. You're walking around money. Just trying to build up my support, build up what's going on. In a couple months, I'm going to be launching, I think around my birthday this year, in April 19th, going to be launching a new tier on my Patreon page that we'll be building towards what I announced is my first recorded, produced comedy special video. We have the album out there available on Bandcamp, but that's going to be a year from now. And it's going to tie into some Patreon stuff over there, and I'm going to kind of track the journey. But if you want to jump over and support over there on Patreon, I'm at 97 paid supporters. You'll see sometimes it says 234 members. There's that thing now you can be a public supporter, which is great. I don't really offer anything, but I don't think any creator really offers anything to the you're just swinging through. I don't know. We feel bad about forcing it. We're like, do we give you something? But if you want to become a supporter at any level, I'm just talking any level. Help me get over that century mark for the first time in years. It'd be great. You get things like Pop Rockin' Radio. Which I got a great one this week. I had a great one last week. I don't promote the shows much anymore. I should. It's just weird. I feel it is slightly weird. I don't feel bad promoting things. Clearly, I'm doing it now. But I feel bad going on social media being like, rock and roll. Yeah, here's the link. The world's on fire. It just, I got bad at promoting Pop Rockin' Radio. But every week, I'm live on Hall of Fame Music Radio, but also on demand on Mixcloud if you want to be a channel member there, or you want to just support on Patreon and just get that and all the comedy and all the stuff. Great show last week. So proud of my playlist last week. This week, Pop Rock and Radio, I'm taking a look at 1995, a year very near and dear to my heart. Yes, I have a lot of 90s rock music on my show. This is all 1995. Put together a good list. And yes, if you're wondering, is Breakfast at Tiffany's by Deep Blue something on the show? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Or is it my favorite song? No. But kind of. It's there as well. So Jared says I was 9 in 1995. That doesn't mean you couldn't have enjoyed Breakfast at Tiffany's. You say we've got nothing in common. All right, pitchy. James Holmes is here checking in for the UK. James, still got your book up. James, I'm gonna get that book to you soon. I think, just gotta get through this. Just gotta. I'm going to the post office this time instead of my mail service. So that's on the Patreon page, as well as the comedy stuff that's already there. Check that out. Also, in the YouTube thing here, I haven't, let me click, we didn't start the fire. I did a Q&A. Usually I do a poll. But I did a Q&A, and I said, what should be the next good, bad food? Which means if you've got a pitch for one. We've had 2 segments officially so far. We also had Corey had kind of a meatloafy one that was an unofficial one. Let me know. I don't know where I can get the answers. That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's where I'm trying to figure out. I've posted the question. So if anyone answers, let me know if you posted an answer, because I'm going to try to see if this works. Just trying for engagement. Just an engagement slut. And I'm not even, I say that with pride. YouTube will probably ding me for saying that. All right, Jared says he did a test here. YouTube will be like, did you say the word slut? All right, that's not good. Did you Ziegheil? Great, that's allowed. Yeah, where does it goes to my channel. That's great. This is weird. I don't know where it went. All right. I clicked ask me. Yeah, okay. And I don't want to end the Q&A. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll just ask you all. Maybe that's where we're at. I don't know. What a boring show. I've started out on. One of the things I do want to talk about, sadly, is the passing of a comedy legend, Lynn Stewart, passing away at 78 years of age. Lynn Stewart is known, I think, across many generations, but the 2 things that probably jump out in a generational sense are, of course, playing Miss Yvonne on Pee-wee's Playhouse. Miss Yvonne was a wonderful part of the community and the cast of characters that was Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Pee-wee's Playhouse, Pee-wee's live show at the Roxy, Pee-wee at the Groundlings. More on that in a second. But I think a lot of people might know her as a mom on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, playing Charlie's mom. And I loved her kind of crashing in to the modern, say modern, It's Always Sunny is now 20 years old, which is crazy. But I love the way she just embraced what was going on with that show, a new age of comedy, a new style of comedy, grew with the show as well, and just heartbreaking there. She was born in 1946, 78 years. She appeared in American Graffiti. Which is, looking at the article here, I didn't even realize this. She was the driver of the car, the girls who pick up Richard Dreyfuss's character, Kurt. A lot of appearances on TV over the years, MASH and Laverne and Shirley. But she was one of the Groundlings originals. And when I was down there at the Groundlings, David McKay says she was in Running Man. Yeah. I think along with Edie McClurg, who was an original Groundling as well. Edie McClurg, of course, being the Ferris Bueller secretary. He's a righteous dude. Just had so many great appearances across so many shows and movies. And when I was training at the Groundlings, 99 to 2002, Lynn Stewart was just one of those. She was just kind of one of those, icons, a living icon for that place. And Elvira, Cassandra Peterson as well, Lorraine Newman, who I saw. I never met Lorraine Newman, but me and a friend accidentally backed into a wall and almost squished her inside the lobby of the Groundlings on a crowded night. We were like, oh, I was like, oh, hey, we're squishing Lorraine Newman. Sorry, Lorraine. Edie McClurg as well, of these kind of original Groundlings players that kind of established L.A. West Coast sketch comedy. And Pee-wee's, Paul Rubin's part of that, and Pee-wee kind of emerging from the Groundlings as a Groundlings character into a show that was on the Sunset Strip, a lot of shows at the Roxy, as an example, and her being part of that. And it's funny that it made a lot of sense that Paul Rubens and so many people behind the scenes took Pee-wee to the kids and us on Saturday mornings. But Miss Yvonne being a sexually charged character, they call her the pretty princess in Puppet Land in a way, and she just brought that the double entendres, the energy, the not focusing on it, the genius, many levels of genius on Pee-wee. But I think that was one of them too, and she brought so much magic to it, and then translating it to a morning show on Saturdays, like me and so many of my generation watch. She was special, and if you've never taken the watch on. If you've never taken the full watch on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, maybe it's not for everyone. And the show grew and got more mature over the years in its own weird way. She, as Charlie's mom, is just an all-timer for me. So I just wanted to take a moment to tip my cap to Lynn Stewart, a comedy original, and sad to see her go. But what a career, what a legacy there. So check out her work if you haven't. One of the things I want to get to here quickly on the last time out Thursday. It's so funny. Last time out, I addressed the dislike thing, which is funny because I don't get a lot of dislikes. Hey, the bigger your YouTube channel gets, you're going to get dislikes. I'd love to have 100 dislikes because that means I'm probably having 1,000 likes and we're in a different ball game. But I don't. But I just complain. But I've just found it funny that every time I set up a live stream and it populates and it's up there for YouTube, hey, upcoming live streams, I always have 1 to 2 dislikes on the live streams. And for the whole week. So if I put them up on Sunday, I try to put all 3 of them up on Sunday. Sometimes I just put the Monday show up and then I put Thursday and Saturday. Blah, blah, blah. Old man details. But this week, all of them had 1 or 2 dislikes on them, including this show Saturday. So on like Tuesday or Wednesday when I saw it, Thursday show had a dislike. Saturday show today had 2 dislikes. So I went off on it a little bit. Not went off. Not like I didn't slam anybody. Just like if it's people from the old days, if it's old Collider Schmoes fans, if it's old Screen Junkie fans who just haven't taken the political journey with me, got it, good. Kick rocks and get out of here. I don't need it. It's just annoying. I don't care if it's any engagement, it's good engagement. I don't care. It's just one of those things that doesn't affect my life other than the sense of every time I see it, I'm just like, just leave me alone, right? Just leave me alone. After I said that, the dislikes are gone. So, I'm just pointing out facts here. So if you're hate watching me, hello. I don't know why. There's better things to do. But I appreciate you removing the likes. Not because YouTube cares. YouTube does not care. I could have 2,000 dislikes at 2 likes. It kind of factors it in the same. But the likes work when it comes to live shows, like in this episode now, getting it out there. Those kind of things are good. But it was tremendously weird. Like I said before, usually those 1 or 2 dislikes are that's the only ones I get. They stay there. It's good. I can see them on the back end. I don't even think they publicly display that stuff anymore. But it was just fascinating. So, hi. If you're here, hello. Okay, so the question. Let's go back to the question thing. Then we'll go to a new segment here. See, I click on it, and my options are end Q&A or go to my own YouTube channel. Oh my gosh. All right. MASH go. Yeah, Lynn Stewart, a nurse in MASH. Though I guess if you're in MASH, good chance you're a nurse or a doctor. One quick little thing here. Okay, here we go. I'm starting to say this is a work in progress. Like I said, I wanted to put a little more work into this, and then we will take some calls. I got Jared lined up, Jared the Tide Pilot. Who knows where he's going to force me to go? And that's why I like the calls. I'm starting a new segment here called One Musk Lie. The lies and the disinformation of Elon Musk is one of the biggest things going on today, and it's overwhelming, and each day something new comes up. And as we try to find in our own ways the best way to deal with it, the best way to understand it, and the best way to combat it, we have the Tesla takedown going on. Big protest in Long Beach today. Chris Kluwe, the I don't know, am I saying his name right? The former Minnesota Viking punter, who, by the way, one of the ways his NFL career ended, he was a great punter for the Vikings. He stood up for gay marriage, and one of the reasons his professional career kind of came to an end in a roundabout kind of way. Wasn't the reason, I want to be clear. He had punted for a long time. But he was always outspoken. So one of the things I thought about, because it's the thing that's dismaying me, and trying to find the right way to use my show and the small platform I have, is I don't want to just rage. I don't want to just make fun. We're all here generally like-minded. I think everyone watching me has at least 1 or 2 degrees of agreement with me. Even if I'd do this, I'd say this, I think that's fine, right? We're all going to sit around a forest one day having meets with Laserbolt. We have a strong community here. But I'm trying to find, with either here or anytime with Ken and Alden, even what we're doing in Force Center, what are things I can do? I want it every Saturday. I just want to highlight one Musk lie. The reason being, I have people in my life who I do, as I talked about this week, I consider good people. These are good people. Now, they're standing up on the wrong side of history, but also I just don't think they know. I don't think they care to know, and I don't think they're engaged with it enough. So what I saw a few times is some of the misinformation, at best, lies for the most time and for the most part. Some of the misinformation being put out by Elon, whether it's on his X profile, whether it's just at a press conference, or whether he's standing next to the president's desk with his kid as the kid yells at the president, Elon's the president, but yells at the person with the title of president. I've seen people parrot that. And I think because on the surface, the idea, this long-held idea of government waste is real. And if you're of a certain age, you've spent decades maybe even talking about, well, the old waste over there, the old pork belly stuff going on. And there's a lot of truth to that. So that's part of the danger, I feel, in these authoritarianism times, is there are some truths that can be used first, and they shield the misinformation, the lies, or the true intentions behind it. And it is increasingly difficult to see, and heartbreaking to see people I like and respect, people I talk to who are just like, yeah, they retweet or repost. I saw one person on LinkedIn liking a post that was praising Elon Musk's work, when a lot of it is just lies. And by the way, Brandon Hanna sends regards. He'll be back here on the show for a Saturday segment, but Brandon's one of the ones with me that are trying to work against the Musk lies. But just, there's representations too. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but it was in this Forbes article I was reading, but I also saw it posted this week. One of the things Doge is praising is like saving money on allowances for presidents, and they touted a certain number, and I am scrolling through to make sure I try to get the number, but it's not the main point today. So if anyone has the number or has clarity, and that's the thing, during this one Musk Lie segment, if you got some clarity or additional things down there, by all means. But one of the things he was saying is they were touting like saving some money. Here it is. Doge lists $128,233 in savings on, quote, allowance to former presidents, after the agency said it closed a nearly 7,700 square foot office in Atlanta. But what they really are talking about there is President Jimmy Carter. That space was his the Carter Center. And the allowances for each former president, that came to an end on December 3rd, 2024, the day after he died. I'm reading straight from Forbes here, if anyone wants to know. So there's a truth, there's some savings there, but it wasn't because Doge came racing in there and, ooh, look at this, get this fluff out of here, get this waste out of here. That dropped off. So they're taking credit for that in a way, which is part of the problem. But the main thing that was going around, they were touting $8 billion canceled on immigration and custom enforcement. This is one of the things that they touted this week, and they said it was in the Immigration and Customs Enforcement's Office of Diversity and Civil Rights. That is a Star Wars prequel of a title. That they had canceled $8 billion in technical support contracts for this division here, dating back to 2022. However, the contract, though initially might have been actually budgeted for $8 billion, it eventually became valued at $8 million. $8 million. And only $2.5 million was spent on the contract. So suggesting that if there was any savings done, whether we need these savings or not is a question. They saved only $5.5 million. They did quietly amend that on the list, Doge did, but to just $8 million. But what goes out is the savings of $8 billion. And that's treated as a truth by a lot of folks who are just simply going, yeah, the idea of draining the swamp and tearing down the government, it's never worked for us, and this is a good thing. I understand that from a certain point of view. I understand that from the history of what's going on in our country, in the government, and uncovering things. It was all roses until Nixon and Watergate, and suddenly the general public was seeing the truth of might be going on behind the walls. Before that, it was just lore and myth, if you will. So I just want to highlight that. And that's all this savings is series and thing is about. I want to do this every Saturday. One MUSK lie. It'll be a little more written and focused here. And if you got something, if you want to propose something, reach out to me. If you're on Discord, we have people in chat, including Vermont Mike and Laserbolt. As Laserbolt says, he's already cut spending for federal parks. That affects my job. I got another friend who's 2 or 3 friends in federal work who are unsure of their immediate future. And not to mention, and I think I saw 8984M here, so he's cutting government waste like city planning, environmental reviews, because climate change is a growing problem. And there's a lot of things you can track and show that he's going after organizations that have it out for his organizations. Have you been investigating Tesla? Oh, your money's gone to those kind of things. I don't want this to be a 50 list every week. I'm just going to focus on one thing every week. So if you're having a conversation with a friend and they say, well, they canceled $8 billion for immigration and customs enforcement, which again, I'm not even 100% sure if that's what we needed, but I don't know that right now. I'm not an expert in that field. You can say, no, it was only $8 million, and technically it was only 5.5. So there you go. Rich T adds a lot of stuff Doge is saving is money that is already spent. They're just stopping research without the result. It's actually wasting the money. Yes, and we can go on on that. But James in UK says, curious, how did the second-rate UK political folk fare in the USA? Do you know who Truss is, for instance? We always overhear now, it seems. Was prime minister in incredibly short time here. Yeah, Truss was like prime minister for like 2 hours, right? If I recall. Yeah, I think, it's interesting. James, you bring up a good point of I do have some folks like James and David Mackay who are over in the UK. Matty Gunner's really from outer space. He doesn't live anywhere. And you're more plugged in because you're hearing me run my mouth. But yeah, we should do a cultural exchange of shitty politicians. Just here's this shitty person, here's this shitty person, and see. We should have a wall, a tracker board here. Alan Smithy says, I work for the state of Cali. Ken's tax dollars pay for my absolute essential services. Maybe not. I might not pay my taxes this year. Yeah, I don't know. Did they? I don't know. No, I will. I always do. I'm always like, I wait to the last minute, but I do pay. So there you go. One MUSK lie, and there is one thing I want to do. We'll do it on Saturdays. All right. And that's that. But let us get some calls going here. Let me make sure I'm set up. Jared the TIE pilot was waiting patiently early on, so we definitely want to hear from him here. Jared, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm not too bad. How are we doing tonight, Ken?
I had probably one of the mentally healthy, one of the least mental health weeks of my life this week, but I had a good lunch with a pal. I'm going to play the new Fortnite map tonight, and I don't know. You know what, Jared? I might get a donut. All right? I might fuck around and find out with a donut tonight.
You know what? Yes. Yes, you will. What kind of donut we talking here?
I love... I'm going to say this slowly and directly. I love biting into something and having a nice warm liquid fill up my mouth. So, Jared, I'm going to get a cream-filled donut.
Hey, good man, good man. Oh,
Steve says top five donuts. You know what? We should build for that, Steve. We should talk. We'll do that next week. That'd be great.
yes,
Yes, so
definitely,
does Jared. Gives me permission on the donuts.
definitely. So again, let's get out of the real world for a minute
Okay,
and
let's do it.
hop back into Song of Ice and Fire. New
I
question
love it.
for you this week.
Okay, but I love this. What I love that you're doing is you are forcing me to talk Game of Thrones, and I appreciate your. This is wonderful. You're getting away with it, Jared. I know what you're doing. You're back. You're forcing me to backpedal into Casterly talk, and I love it. Let's go.
That's all right. Well, because I remember back in your, oh my God, I can't remember the Daily Thrones days,
Yeah.
and just when you were getting out of that, one of my favorite segments were your what ifs. Those were
Yes.
always great. This is in the same vein, but not quite. So, what you have to choose one of our on-screen rulers
Okay.
that you have to be a common folk under, living in King's Landing specifically. So, what king, queen, ruler are you living under for your little life of King's Landing?
Well, okay. Of kings that have been around,
The
or
ones we've
king,
seen
or
on
queen,
screen.
or queens. Okay.
On screen. HBO's on screen.
Look, man. It didn't go well because the people around her, the small folk, treated her bad. Blatant sexism and patriarchy in effect there. But I'm going to follow Daenerys to the end of the earth. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? One of the greatest moments of my life was at the solo world premiere party, turning the corner to go back to the tri-tip. Let's be honest. I was going back to eat, and I made eye contact with Emilia Clarke for 5 seconds. We stared at each other. Now, was she as impressed with me as I her? No, no. But that's my queen, man, and I think if she had gotten into power the way she originally intended, and I'm talking about before Marine. The greatest thing was I got to get good at this. I'm staying in Marine. I'm learning a lesson. And season 3, her stated goal at the beginning of that season is I need an army so that I can save the world in a way, right? I need an army to get my place. It was done with a good heart, but that was the goal. I need an army. I need to take that throne. And then she realizes on the way to Marine with the other Yunkai and Astapor, I got a power, and I got a power that I can use to help people. I got to free people. I got to use my position, my privilege, and my birthright to change the world for good. She got to Westeros, and they rejected that. Reasons? Many. Woman being one of them, if not the major one. So I'm still following her. She's my queen to the end of time.
Nice choice. Nice choice. The one I gotta go with is gotta be my boy, Vizzy T. How many? What was that? Almost 20 years of
Peace.
Good peace, prosperous peace.
Yes.
The King's Landing was making good money. I mean, look at our boy Hugh Hammer. Before the war started,
Hugh Hammer
had a good Smith going. You know, wife and kid, everything. But
can I ask you a question? Grace thinks Hugh the Hammer and I we look the same. Do I got a little Hugh the Hammer vibe?
You know what? I can see it.
When it's a little thicker.
You need to get that blonde wig going, but I think we got it.
All right, that's fair. Quick shout out, James Holmes saying good night, all. James, I do have your super chat here, and you said haggis. I'm game. James, if you want to come on here and defend haggis, that'd be a great good bad food. Anyways, here we go. Yeah, okay. Vizzy T. Yeah, man. I think he was in a way such a good king, maybe not a great king, but he was such a good king that everyone else was like, we got to create some drama. It's so boring right now. We got to create some drama.
See, and the way I see it too is looking from that commoner small folk perspective. Because from the small folk's perspective, King Viserys did fine. Peace. We got good gold running through King's Landing.
Right.
I mean, if you know that he's actually a very weak king, and just wants to please everybody, which you can't do as a king, and he never learned that lesson.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but thinking it from just a common perspective, it's like
We,
the trains were on time, as you like to say on Force Thunder.
Trains run on time, usually not used to express love for the leader in charge, but with Vizzy T, which, by the way, thank you for giving me that. I'm never going to not call him Vizzy T. But with Viserys, and we talked about it on our previous call-in with you. Yeah, did Alden call him Vizzy T?
Yep.
That kid's all right. That kid Alden's all right. But I love that moment we talked about with him having just peace and joy at a family dinner that was not full of peace and joy, but that showed to me his true nature. And choosing Rhaenyra showed a forward-thinking, outside-the-box leader. And if everyone had just listened, it'd be all right. It'd be all right. But everyone got bored. Everyone looked around. You ever worked at a job where things are going okay, and then suddenly you're like, oh, why are you two messing it up? Just come on.
If they listened just before, they would have had Rhaenyra as queen, and she would have done a hell of a job more than Viserys.
Absolutely. Love that. Great answers in chat. Addie, who, let's not forget, Addie was one of the first regular callers to Daily Thrones. Great calls back in the day. I'm going with Queen Sansa. Sansa would be good. I just want to see. I trust. Sansa is a great answer. We are unfortunately not privileged to see what happens with her as a queen in the North, but it's going to be awesome. There's no field sample for us to look at right now. Yeah. But yeah, great answers as well. A lot of people, JMB said to follow Brienne. Look, I'd follow Brienne. I don't, not a leader yet. Tyrion, if he had been in charge, could have been. I do worry. I think he would. Do you think Tyrion would have been a good king?
For a while, but I think because he admits he likes the game, so I think his ego would eventually be his downfall. But it'd be that slow death of the good King Tyrion, like 10, 15 years into his reign, all of a sudden the trains are getting late.
Yes, yeah, there's a little bit of that worry I have, where I think he's a great number two. He's a great number two.
Yes.
You as a hand of the king, hand of the queen too. Good choice. Yes. That would be.
Yes, when he's got a good check and balance with him. There was, I can't see who said it in the chat, but somebody brought up Bran the Broken. How do we think? Because like you just said with Sansa, we don't see Bran's reign, but that's an interesting reign as a king because you've got rebuilding to do and just changing the wheel.
Yeah, and Jay for Nowhere says Queen Alice seems like a decent person. I agree with that. Yeah, I am on the record as saying, yes, I love season 8. I'm on the record as saying I love the idea of Bran the Broken. I do feel that comes from George R. R. Martin. Now, whether George will stick with that in his writing, we'll see.
Hey, we got to get through book 6 first.
He's over there at the Mexican restaurant in Santa Fe Springs that he always eats at. I think trying to see who else could be the king or queen. I'm convinced of it. But Bran the Broken, I like it as a choice. I like it as a statement. The person who should rule should be the one that does not want to rule. Plus, he kind of knows all the stories. There's so much there that I liked about it. It was maybe a weird decision. I also think it was somewhat of an awkward scene, them all sitting around, and I liked the moment with Sam suggesting democracy and everyone laughing. I think there's something about that I like. Because I kind of thought that might be where the show was going. Did you ever have those thoughts, Jared?
No, but just to interject with that thought real quick.
Yes, please.
You saying Martin saying that, why do I feel like all of a sudden that's an option just to troll everybody? At the end, at the end of the book, it's true democracy, and all the small folk are voting.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. Brian Taylor got excited because Santa Fe Springs is a city in SoCal. I meant Santa Fe, New Mexico. Sorry, my grandmother used to live in Santa Fe Springs, so that's why it was on my head. But in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where George is, here's I don't know it, but there's a Mexican restaurant that Dan and Dave met with him. I'm so curious if look, at this point, I don't even believe we're going to get the books. I really don't think we're going to get the books finished, but from George at least. But love it there. But as far as Bran as a king, the thing I liked, but the thing that could be a problem because it's about who's on your team and your administration. I really thought he was going to be like, look, I'll take the title. Tyrion, you got to run it. That's part of your punishment. The burden of leadership is on you. I'll be here. I'll have final vote, but I'm going to go. I don't know. I'm going to go search for dragons. I think they're going to use Bran to, if that Jon Snow series went on, I always thought like they'd plug in with him and he'd be like, hey, I think I'm talking to the dragon. Danny's dragon's over there. You want to go get it? And that could go wrong with the wrong person.
No, I feel you. And just, again, he's surrounding himself with interesting people because, again, we've got Tyrion that we've discussed already. Then you've got Bronn over there as Master of Coin, which that was exactly.
One of the things I will say the show I don't think did wrong, but you had such a breakout character in Bronn who does not factor into the books after a certain while in a way that I think is substantial, but they knew they needed to keep him around, and the pinball passing of him worked. The hot football Bronn, you're now the City Watch, you're now this. It worked until the finals. I did not like the, well, Cersei wants me to kill you kind of vibe. And so at the end, we're like, well, I guess he's still here. Like I loved it because I love Bronn, but I don't think it worked for the show as well.
My favorite funny thing with the Bronn character was not even like you wouldn't know unless you knew the behind the scenes was he had to leave that meeting in season 8 early because when he takes Podrick, let the folks out because he dated one of the actors and they couldn't be in the same room together.
Lena Headey. Cersei, and for those who don't know, they dated years ago, and he was a pop star. He was a British singer as well as an actor a long time ago. Jerome Flynn, and they dated long before the show, and in her contract. And I don't, who knows? Maybe he was a prick. I don't. Maybe he was really. I don't know. I'm not here to defend him without knowing the whole story, and definitely would. Quite frankly. I might take some orders from Cersei as well. A different conversation off air. But Lena Headey as Cersei it's an emotional weakness for me. And once you figure it out, you go back to episode 1 or 2, wherever it's hilarious to me. Like some of the scenes where they do talk, it's very clearly body double. Yep. Different shot, different scene. It's fantastic.
Yep. Oh my God.
All right. Well, there you go. You got me talking about Game of Thrones. And look, Alden and I, every week, I want to tell you something, Jared. Every week, anytime ends, and we're both sitting there off air waiting for the file to upload, and we're always like, God, why are we just letting Cats Really Talk sit there? Why are we doing this?
Hey, I will gladly hop on with you and Alden to keep that show going because
quite frankly, sorry, I'll let you finish. This kind of thing, just a live show, would work. So there you go.
Yeah, because you have so many I've discovered so many great voices from Castley Talk, from Andy, Savvy, Tolly, Alden's hetero life mate.
Nikki.
But it's just even when Romo was on a few times on Romo, like just because unfortunately I just don't have the circle around that would appreciate or going into the topics and deep dives that is. It's if I have anybody who wants to talk Game of Thrones, it's the dragons were cool, Daemon kicks ass. Like when I was working a little bit during the second season of House of Dragon, one of the guys his constant excuse was, why is Daemon doing nothing? Like,
drives me crazy.
Media literacy is gone.
it's long gone. No, and I get it was a not as exciting storyline. I got it because you want to see Daemon. You want to let Daemon cook, and you have an actor just really sinking their teeth in that role. So I understood not liking it. I always understand not liking it, but when someone's like, "I'm just doing nothing," I'm like, "Oh God, man! Oh, here we go." But sometimes going deep into shows, I just don't have this time as much anymore. But just having fun, chopping it up, as they say, Jared, you're working. It's working. Okay, it's working. All right.
Well, I'll let you go.
Thanks, Jared.
You guys, stay safe. Love you all in the chat.
All right, get your band practice one of these days, all right?
That's tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
Oh, there you go. Check out Jared's work on his band, Concepts of a Plan. Brian Tiller was in chat, lead singer of the Moonagers. Hey, if you want to pick up some Moonagers music, go to themoonagers.bandcamp.com and buy a single. Give us $1. Listen to some music. Or you could stream it 10 million times on Spotify, and we'll get that dollar. Also, if you want to go to my Bandcamp, you can pick up In My Day, my comedy audio album released in 2023. David had a great joke during that whole exchange. Did they change it to Santa Fe, New America yet? Not yet. Not yet. But I wonder if there's the reason. Number one, you just probably couldn't change a state's name as easy as you could change an international body of water, I guess. But I think that there's a sense of ownership in that New Mexico, right? Similar to New York. Like, it's New York. We did it better. So I think there could be a twisted, perverted, we don't need to change the name because we made ours better than yours. That's how dumb they could get. That's how they could get. JB says Jared Mayobringer. That's a great GOT name. That's perfect. I want to get to this now. Super Blathers will be at 5, but we're going to take a call from Addie. We got some Steve with some sports and a big, important update in the history of the New York Yankees coming. We've got James Holmes. I touched on this earlier. That's why I'm answering it now. I just want to say I tried to answer. I'm going to go check that poll thing. I don't know why it's not working. I said haggis, but you don't get authentic haggis there, I think, though you dip your chickens in chlorine, right? But sheep lung is too much. Weird. Yeah. Haggis is a great answer for good, bad food, because it immediately causes a retch. Immediately causes a retch in some folks. I don't think I would try it unless I was over there and then caught up in the moment, maybe with a pint in a hand, sitting next to James. I think I'd have it. I think I'd be a fool not to. So if you can come up and sell it, and we'll see who here appreciates it or who here over there. Jared the Tie Pilot says it's yummy, yummy, yummy. JMB checking in live says, wait, I'm confused. There's Jared Ouellette, Jared the Tie Pilot, but isn't this Jared the Dark Jedi? No, Jared the Dark Jedi is from the Nerd Academy podcast. Jared with an E, Jared with an O. Oh, it gets confusing. Okay, but no. Narcolepsy 27 says, I think you can get legit haggis at the Scottish Games, but I won't touch it. Okay. I would love to do, I couldn't do the nothing moving, nothing squiggly. Like, I'm not an adventurous eater, but you guys all know I'm obsessed with like cooking shows or Favreau's chef show, that kind of stuff. I want to do that kind of show. My friend Joey, I thought I saw earlier in chat. Joe, if you're still here, say hi. We talked. He can make he can make things. He's a shooter. He's a cameraman. He's a director. We should still figure out how to do that. Vanja's here, says, evening, my LA friend. Thank you, Vanja. Thank you. Steve asks, am I a Chopped guy? Oh, the TV show Chopped. It's been a few years, but yes. And, I have to say this carefully. In a previous relationship, a previous long-term relationship, yes, Grace was not my fast. That was like my ex and I's show to just hang out and watch. That and a little drive-ins, diners, and dives. The Guy Fieri show. And I like those kind of shows. Like Guy Fieri, some people hate him, some people love him, I know one person that worked for him, and she was like, yeah, he's weird. But I love that show. Like, I want that show. I want Ken Napzok goes and eats at your restaurant. Please give me that show. I used to watch that Andrew Zimmern guy and Bourdain. A lot of people go to Bourdain. I didn't watch a lot of Bourdain. I liked no problem with him. It was not my speed. But Andrew Zimmern is his name. The weird. That's when you start eating squiggly things and things that are clucking and clicking, and I can't do that. I did that. We got a question. 5 o'clock. We're gonna do a little after 5. Sorry, I am favoriting some questions here. There you go. All right, Addie is up next. Let's see, making sure I got the right thing. Hey, Addie, how are you? First of all, Addie, we don't talk about that often, but Daily Thrones was the first time I heard your voice. Those were the great home run calls back in the day.
Thank you, thank you. I don't. I think it had become Casterly Talk by that point,
Yes,
but
yeah, but
yes, it
yes.
was a. I can remember making those calls because
Hmm.
I would go for a walk around the block at lunchtime during the pandemic, and
Yes,
I would record calls outside while
yes.
walking around my neighborhood.
Wonderful stuff. Well, they were great calls. You are smart and insightful in anything you discuss, but what is on your mind tonight?
I'm not even sure, to be perfectly honest. I
You
called
just
in
check it in,
while you were I called in while you were railing about Elon Musk because I always enjoy
right?
shaking my fist at the sky.
Musk. Yeah, yeah,
um I
yeah.
I I guess here's a question for you in the this is what I've been thinking about since I saw this New York Times headline. What would your 5 things that you did this week email say?
But yeah, I
Or no, I guess today.
today.
It wasn't every week. It was every day they have to email him.
I heard it as today. Clayton Sandell, a Star Wars adjacent reporter, said actually shared an email from a friend. He claimed, I say claim because I don't know all the facts, but shared the email. I think it is due by Monday or midnight Monday on the weekend. So it's like, what is the 5 things you did this week?
Okay.
Yeah, which I hate that kind of stuff, anyways.
Well, if you want to talk about like we're supposed to be making things more. What a freaking waste of time!
Waste of time,
Like
and it's
what
like
a waste of
check
time
my
and
work.
resources.
Check my work. Go to my supervisors. You know what they assigned me. Did I complete it? Am I still working on it? Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. And I'm sure there's
Can
gonna be
I
some people that do that.
include? Can I include writing that email on the list of 5 things I did this week?
Addie, that would have that. You know what would be? That would be number one. Two. There's some people going to be understandably and rightfully scared, and you're going to give a good answer. I don't fault anyone for that. I don't think that this is not the a battlefield of resistance that needs to be highlighted. But I
Oh,
was notorious as a security director.
hang
No,
on, hang on.
yeah,
Brady has not seen the headline. So, Brady,
Brady's
the
Brady's not seeing the headline.
Elon Musk is requiring federal workers to email Doge 5 things they accomplished every week in
Yeah,
order to like keep their jobs.
yeah. It's your. Did you work this week? Is basically what they're
Yeah.
saying. Because if not, we're gonna cut you. Yeah, so yeah. Steve says, "Who's the poor bastard reading all of those?" I hope one of those 19-year-old coked up ketamine filled
Yeah.
interns from
Chat
Doge,
GPT.
ChatGPT. Yeah, I mean, I was in my security director days, was pro employee as much as I could. Not every employee loved me, and I wasn't perfect, but I was like I had bosses who were friends. But if you rubbed me wrong, man, I was a resistor when it came to management, to a point where I had a bit of a reputation. But eventually got promoted, so it worked out okay. And I hate that kind of shit. What have you done? One of my final VPs, and we ended up being friendly enough. We had dinner a year or so later and made peace. But he came on Black Friday and he just assumed I was not there. And he calls me, and I had been there. This was my 30th of what would be like 31 or 32 hours straight on the property. And at the 30th hour, he calls me and it's like, "Where are you? What have you done? Are you out here?" Like what? Like basically Doge emailing me at like 10 o'clock on Friday night, and I did not do well with it. So I resist that regardless. But I hope and I trust there's going to be a lot of people that just say, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, I was thinking about the job I had before the job I currently have, where at the end of every year I had to write my own performance evaluation,
Yes.
um, where I had to list all the things I had done that year, and it was almost like I don't know, like given the nature of my job, I barely remember what I did last week, let alone telling you every good thing I did this year. Like, no, stop.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no, yeah. 8984 points out, yeah, that something I've seen as well. But he did the same thing at Twitter, but with how many lines of code did you write? If you know how to write code, it's a stupid question to ask. Yeah, this is the bull in a china shop approach to management, approach to checking the efficiency, which is not no one's shocked. I mean, this is the guy. This week we saw him come up on stage, bombed out on ketamine and God knows what else, barely able to speak. I know he had some sort of procedure, whatever. Who gives a crap? And then brings a chainsaw. This is the same guy who walked into the Twitter offices with a kitchen sink. He's a dummy. He's not funny. He's not creative. He's none of the things he wants to be. And now the world is paying for it, which is the frightening, scary thing. Which is why I want to fight it with one lie a week. Here's one way to change the conversation around him with people you know.
Yeah, it's maddening because like these jobs are already overworked and underpaid, and now you're going to make them take the time to tell you what they did this week. But going back to the one lie of this week, to something that you said, I completely agree with the fact that like it's fine that they go out and correct these things, but the headline's already out there, and all people did was read the headline. Like,
Yep.
And they're never going to see the correction. If they see the correction, they're never going to believe the correction. Like it's too late.
Yep.
And
it is. Yep.
Yeah.
But my and that's my thought, because when I saw one of my friends post about it, it was like I wish, how do I change, how do I address it if it comes up in conversation, because it's not someone I talk to regularly anymore, and I just want to be like, hey, here's this. What do you think of this? The answer more often than not, to your point, is going to be like, not true, or I don't care. You got to break some eggs to make an omelet, whatever. But I want truth presented to them, and their choice to react to it or not. Then I can maybe know how to cut ties or just move on. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have the answer. I'm just wondering.
It reminds me of one of the last interactions I had on Facebook before I vacated that platform.
Right.
And one of my friends had posted, it was before Biden got elected. It was during the 2020 election. And it was essentially like, if there was a meme going around that like, if Biden died and Kamala Harris died, like Nancy, like somehow somebody became the president, and it wasn't the correct order of succession.
Right.
Like, that's not how that actually worked. I think it was that Nancy Pelosi would become, even though she wasn't the speaker, because they weren't in the majority. Like, and it was, and then like I pointed that out to them, and they were like, "Well, I'm just pointing out that something like that could happen." And I'm like, "But you're wrong. Like,
but you're
that
wrong.
is not how the order of succession actually works."
Right. Yeah, it is frustrating, and I feel I've dealt with this in the Star Wars world for a long time, where it's like, I know you might not like this movie, but you saying that this was done despite George Lucas and treating it as fact is not a fact. That is wrong. That is wrong. And then the steamroller's gone, the rock's rolling down the hill, and you can't stop it, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. But and this week I was like, it's not about fighting it, but it's just about what can I do in the world that helps disconnect some people from that? I don't know. We'll see.
I wish I had a good answer, because I have the same problem with specific people in my life, where I'm just like, I don't know what I can say to you that will finally break through.
Yep.
I would love to find that silver bullet, but
like
I have no idea what it's going to be.
Silver bullet, scary move from the 80s as well, and it's something we're all looking for here. Vermont Mike says the admin will do this administration will do everything possible to not have to pay severance to government employees. Oh, sure, right? Yeah, and even Laserbolt says this. Laserbolt's state park job is seasonal and have winters off. The problem is that if you apply for unemployment, you will not be asked to come back next year. I thought that was criminal. God, yes. They're as everyone knows, I've got my job issue going on right now that I'm still fighting through to find more work and everything. So I applied for unemployment, but as a 1099 employee, I got approved for $0. They sent me paperwork, congratulated me, and said, "Thank you. You're now getting $0 a week. Not entitled to it, even though I've been working and pay my taxes every year." Frustrating stuff like that, Laser Bulb. Frustrating stuff indeed. Which is why it's fair to say not the system isn't perfect and the system does need to be fixed, but these ain't the clowns to do it. And Addie, to your point, you can't convince some folks of that, even with what's going on.
No, and unfortunately, the one good thing, people can't seem to separate the fact that one good thing does not a good person make. Like,
oh yeah,
everyone has redeemable moments. That doesn't make them good people.
I hope to God, one of my least favorite politicians ever is Josh Hawley, but he and Bernie Sanders were working on that, legislation on capping interest rates on credit cards for 10%. I hope to God it comes through. I will not back off Josh Hawley. I will not say thank you. He needs to go. But, if you want to do that and we can come to an accord on that, great. Clock strikes, broken clock strikes, midnight, 13 times, whatever. The bird in the hand, two in the stone. I don't know.
Yeah, or the good thing is all you know about them, so they must be a good. I know somebody who insisted before the inauguration that they didn't know a lot about Elon Musk, but he gave away all of his patents for free, and who does that? Like that, he must be a good guy, and it's like, okay.
But this is the well, Trump was a great businessman lie that got us into the situation, and I know a large amount of people close to me in my life who've said I voted for him in 2016 because I thought we needed a businessman. Which, look, all right, Steve Forbes ran on that, Ross Perot ran on that, and actually got momentum. Got it. But that's not true. He never was a good businessman. It was a lie from day one, and you can't. And I've had successful conversations with people who have pulled back on that. I have a couple people in my life who said, I voted for him in 2016, and I realized it was a mistake. It does happen. I know we don't want to have the big tent philosophy sometimes. I know empathy or trying to find the empathy of some of these people doesn't work overall. I actually believe we're maybe past that, but I've had it happen in my life. I've had that conversation of, I thought he was a good businessman. I was wrong. I didn't vote for him again. I'll take that. Over someone living with the lie.
That's a win.
That's a win. Addie, you're always a win. We appreciate you and appreciate your calls from Casterly Talk during the pandemic and beyond. Thanks for calling in.
I miss that neighborhood. I don't miss my old job, but I do miss how picturesque that neighborhood was to walk around in during the pandemic.
Well, go back to it.
It was in the middle of the mountains. It's on the other side of the country, Ken. I can't go back to it.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. You can go there in your mind. Go there in your mind. Thank you, Addie. We'll see you this week as well.
Yes, you will.
All right. And if you missed the episode on Thursday and you want to just see 60 seconds of science and one of the questions we talked about, it is a clip up here on the channel. All right. We are, as always. You know what? Here's the thing. Every time I come in here, I'm like, I'm going to do about an hour tonight. And you guys just fill me up with energy and happiness, and we're here for a little bit. Couple comments I start here, and then we'll get Steve coming in here. Laserbolt says, I'm sick as a dog all weekend. Will a cocktail make me feel better or worse? First of all, Laserbolt, let's all manifest. Let's all put our energy. Let's all put our hands on you and pray that Laserbolt will recover by Tuesday morning, all right? Maybe Monday afternoon. But what's going to speed that up, Laserbolt, is a stiff whiskey, rocks maybe, no chaser, no mixer, the Cowboy Cure. Is it scientifically proven to heal you? I once got in an argument with a friend over that who used to be used to work in criminologist stuff. She was a scientist, literally a scientist. There, I'm surrounded by scientists. She always said that's not scientifically proven. I was like, the Cowboy Cure works. What I used to do is I used to down. I do not officially endorse this. Laserbolt, do not do this. But I used to take NyQuil and sit down on the couch, bundle up, whiskey, rocks, watch a TV show, eventually fall asleep. And I swear to God, maybe it was just mental. It would cure me. I'd be on the road to recovery. So there we go. Laserbolt, we want you to feel better. I don't condone or endorse the Cowboy Cure, but you should try. Rich D says, okay, Ken, way off topic, but I think one of your recent Force Centers you mentioned liking a story found, liking a story finding a random lightsaber. Did you read the Canon Join the Resistance novels? I think it was one of those. I don't, Rich T, I do not remember what you're talking about. Did I like a story about finding a random lightsaber? I can't remember. LQ, a hot toddy. That's the more appropriate way. A hot toddy. One of my old bosses used to. I'm sick. I'm not gonna be in tomorrow. I'm gonna take a bath and have a hot toddy. And he was in the 70s, so I feel he was a police officer when they used to have 6-shooters and had to get out of the car and find a payphone to call back to the station. Then they got radios in the cars, and then they got the Rovers, which is what handheld LAPD radios. That's why they're called Rovers, because you could get out of the car and still communicate. Laserbolt says you guys are the best. A lot of cures here for you. Rich T, if you're still in chat, I don't remember what you're talking about. There was a book. There's the Jedi Collector that I didn't finish reading, but I did like at the start of it, and it was written by one of the guys who used to write for Robot Chicken and actually wrote on Detours. Oh, yeah, I like the idea of a story where someone finds a lightsaber and the lightsaber becomes a MacGuffin and everyone is after it. Yeah, I did say something about that. But yeah, there you go. Cast Lady Gaga in it and we're good to go. Make her sing. And we got a Star Wars movie. All right, let's do some sports. Hell, you know what? Hold on, Steve. I want to see your face. There we go. Steve's here. I caught you off guard. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, buddy. How's it going? Thanks for having me, as always. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you. Good to have you here on a Saturday. By the way, everyone was very happy that you had a date night recently and missed one of our streams because, I implore all of you to you don't have to be here for every episode. I want you here for every episode.
Absolutely. No, I know. It's just and Saturdays are not usually but I figured I was here, so I'd stop in. And this is a special occasion because we had interesting sports news this week, so I thought it was worth coming by.
This is the intro we need for you all the time. Hey, it's Steve.
That'll do.
Dylan, I'm going to favorite your question there. All right, hit me with some sports. This is not quite 16 seconds of sports, but kind of. What is this? What are we doing?
No, we just have news. So your beloved New York Yankees made one of the biggest announcements that we can have in sports, especially like in a football offseason. Mm-hmm. You can have beards now as a Yankee. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts?
Well-groomed beards, okay?
Well, yeah, of course.
None of that Johnny Damon mega hippie shit he had going on back in the day. All right. Love this. This ruling has been in place for 49 years, put in place by George Steinbrenner. Steinbrenner, complicated character. There's a lot of things about Steinbrenner that weren't publicized that were great. He was generous in some ways. There's a lot of things we know that weren't great. As a lifelong New York Yankee fan, King George was someone I both hated, loathed, and loved, and that's kind of the relationship we had with him. But one of my least favorite things was this ruling. It came about when he just started taking over the team, and really wasn't the George that he would become. He was still this shipbuilder from Cleveland who bought this sports team, and he was a military guy. Remember, Steinbrenner's a military man, and he was watching players on the field, line up on first base for the lineups before a game, and he just saw bushy mustaches and beards. And around this time, the Oakland A's, Charlie O's A's, were growing long hair. They were rebelling. We're a couple years removed from 1960s counterculture, and it was kind of connected with that. And Steinbrenner, a military man, put in the rule that only mustaches were allowed. And as we famously saw, Don Mattingly, sideburns, long hair, you had to trim it up. I think the New York Yankees made the right decision. Hal Steinbrenner made the right decision. It's ridiculous. I talk about resisting in my previous job as a security director. I was not allowed to have facial hair outside of a mustache. I did not want to do that. I would occasionally just grow goatees or beards. Van Dykes didn't care, and my bosses would show up. You can't do that. Okay, but it's here. They wouldn't make me go shave. And then I returned recently, and everyone on the security department has beards now. They're allowed now, within reason. This was more than enough time. It's from Steinbrenner 49 years ago, but it's old school culture. It's 1950s bullshit. It is Johnny Unitas is the haircut you can set your watch to, the great Simpsons joke of all time. We don't need that anymore. It is silly. The idea that prim and proper and professional is tied to a clean face or a trimmed up neckline is bullshit. One of the other people that does this still is Rick Caruso. If you know Rick Caruso, the asshole who will probably once again run for mayor, and there's a better chance of him winning this time around, unfortunately, he runs a lot of properties, and there's when you are an employee, it's almost like a cult. They call it the Caruso way. There's 10 points of Caruso you have to memorize. And you can't have visible tattoos. You can't have hair beyond here. You can't have any facial hair. And it's all for this professional image. I understand you don't want people running around with long caveman hair and bear. I understand some standards. Other than that, it is bullshit. It is tied to conservatism, quite frankly, to bring politics straight into baseball. And it's outdated, and I'm celebrating. And I want them to have a... Steve, you got me going. You're just sitting there. You're like, I'm on camera with this crazy man. I want, and my friend John Mariano, who may or may not be watching from Long Island, we talked about this week. I want them to have an official public ceremony apologizing to Don Mattingly. I want them to bring Donnie Baseball out there. I know he's a coach with Toronto now. Put him and apologize for benching Don fucking Mattingly for having long sideburns. Stump Merrill. I'll never forget it, but it came from Steinbrenner, who was trying to get in his head. So I've been waiting for this for years, Steve. It's important for me. It's important for me to fight the man.
You don't say. Do you have a current Yankee that you're excited to see grow a beard, or is there another Yankee who you wish was a lot or was a Yankee during this time now?
Don Mattingly.
Well, I mean, other than that, obviously. I mean, like that's like someone
I know
else.
Mattingly. I know.
Jeter
Yeah.
posted the picture with the beard. Everyone thought that was really funny. All that.
Mattingly is my answer for everything. Okay, let's be honest. Right. Mattingly is my answer for everything. But he had the Donnie Baseball '80s mustache, which was of the time, but a nice, sensible beard. Jeter, Tino, that whole team, that whole era. But I want Garrett Cole to grow his beard back. He had to shave, and he shaved willingly. He knew, I'm a Yankee. That's what you do. I want that. I want to see Aaron Judge try to grow one, because I bet he can't grow a good beard. I bet his beard is splotchy and Abe Lincoln-like, where it doesn't form up right. But I want him to try.
Yeah, it's gonna be funny to see the Yankees grow playoff beards if they do something like that, especially if you have someone like that who just has all the patchiness and the splotchies. That'll be funny. I want Yankee playoff beards. This will be fun.
Yankee playoff beard. I saw that news, and I mean, look, I play MLB The Show. All my Yankees have beards, and they look fine and proper and wonderful.
So, speaking of beards, this inspired me to talk about or think about my top 5 favorite beards in sports. So I have a list.
Okay.
And so I want to go through. These are just my personal top 5s. I mean, I think these are probably pretty popular picks, but they're all fairly modern too. I wasn't around for the 70s and 80s as far as seeing sports live and appreciating those beards.
Yeah.
But these are producer Steve's top 5 favorite beards in sports. So I got some pictures for these. So we'll see how these pull up. So here we go. Number 5 is Ryan Fitzpatrick, your boy.
Yeah, Fitzmagic. Yes,
Fitzmagic. Yeah, I'm not particularly a huge Ryan Fitzpatrick fan, but he's got a great beard. So.
Same. I was not following the Dolphins as closely during this time, but I like the energy he brought. But it was all right.
All right, number 4, Brett Kiesel. Pittsburgh
Steelers. Yes.
He was a beast. This guy was amazing. Great beard. I mean, just look at that thing.
That's a mountain man. That guy lives in a converted van in the off season. That's that guy.
Yeah. And he wears flannel and he chops wood.
Mm-hmm.
That thing takes. There's so much more shampoo and conditioner going on down there than there is up here with him.
Yes, absolutely. Which is key. Yeah, I saw in chat. Alan Smithy asked us, "When we get beard dandruff?" Yeah, it's possible, but I wash it, conditioned as best I can.
Yeah, the problem with beards that long is when you're drinking or eating and just getting stuff all over. So.
Well, that and occasionally when I'm a little trimmed up these days, but sometimes it's happened on the live show because if it's off air, I scream bloody murder. But you'll take a sip of a soda can, and the little pop top will yank out a hair. And I know there's a lot of people in chat, a lot of women in chat probably going, "Oh, you poor baby, you sweet summer child." But I scream, "Fuck, God damn it," every time it happens.
Yeah, been there. All right, so number 3, Jason Worth.
Oh, Worth. Yeah. I like the Worth beard. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
This is a great beard. I mean, Jason Worth also looks like he may live outdoors or lived took like a retreat somewhere with Aaron Rodgers in a tent to do like drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I love this.
The thing about Worth, I have to look at my soul on this one. Beard, great. And as someone who's had long hair, you got some long hair. I wish I could have long hair again in a jiffy. I'd put some on the top. I thought his long hair was a little bit too much. Like, I thought it flaunted a little too much indiscretion for the rules. I have to look inside my soul and see what's wrong with me on that one.
I love Jason Worth's whole look. The flowing locks.
It's great. No, it's great. He's a great player, too.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, so another one in baseball. Oh, go ahead, please.
No, is that number? No, this is number 2.
That was number 3. That was number 3.
Okay, this is number 2.
We're coming up on number 2. Number 2 is Brian Wilson.
Yes, I am still convinced that it's fake. I look at him now. I know there's probably some dye job going in there. What's fascinating about the Wilson thing is I remember him before the beard, right? Like, I totally remember him before the beard. And then he shows here, and he was lights out. He was one of the big reasons the Giants had that mini dynasty run in the early 2010s. Look at that thing. And for those in the audio, go look up Brian Wilson, San Francisco Giants. That guy looks like he's in hiding from some sort of mafia people trying to cut him out because he ratted on him. That guy's in hiding. That's My Blue Heaven, the sequel, Steve Martin and Brian Wilson. I don't believe that beard for a second.
Yeah, no, as soon as you said that you didn't think it was real, I was like, no, you're right. That looks like a prop. There's a strap on the back of that thing somewhere. I mean, he could hide things in that.
Yeah.
You could like, there's so much real estate. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. Addie says it's fake beards from beginning Men in Tights. Yeah, it's definitely, but it's real. It's real. I think there's a clear dye job going in there, but it's real.
That's a lot of dye too. Think about how much that's. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So from that monstrosity to a very well-groomed beard. This is Producer Steve's number 1 beard in sports. James Harden.
Harden's great.
The beard.
It's the beard. Okay. 898-4M's happy with this answer. I know. Basketball. Yes, even I know that. I don't follow basketball, but I think he would have to be on your list or on the list.
Great beard.
I love that.
Great player. Great beard personality. All of it. I'm surprised James Harden hasn't done more beard-centric, like commercialism type, commercials.
You'd think.
Like
he was in that Super Bowl one though.
Product.
Yeah.
I bet
the beard. Addie says honorable mention Jason Kelsey. Yeah, I think that's a good one. For me, there's some. In the Dan Fouts, San Diego Chargers, eventual announcer. Dan Fouts had a great beard, but it was like Dan Fouts and Richard Karn from Home Improvement looked the same. Like, they had the same vibe. Dan Fouts' beard was a sensible history teacher beard, and I love that he was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL while he had the beard. Obsessed with that beard. Another one I like from the 80s, he only did it for a little bit, was Wade Boggs. I think it was like his 88 season or 87 season. He grew a beard, flaming red beard of Boggs. And I always just remember being obsessed with it. Like, wow, like you could do that? Because I kind of thought baseball players had looks, right? Like Mattingly with the mustache. It's weird to see pictures of it shaved while he was playing. But like that was Mattingly's look. Like you just signed on. You had a look. Like Jesse Barfield looked like that. Wade Boggs had a mustache. Then he showed up with a beard. I was blown away as a kid. Love it.
Those are your top 5 beards, Yankee beards. We'll see what they look like this year. I thought that was worth calling in on Saturday. So, big
absolutely. Also, shout out to Charlie Blackmon, Colorado Rockies. Grew a beard and grew into an all-star with a beard. Love that. And yeah, hockey. Jared the Tie Pilot. Hockey does playoff beards. Yeah, I'm aware. I've watched hockey. Jared. Okay. Steve, home run call. Anything else?
No, that is it. We'll check in next week.
Check in indeed. Mic drop of a call. And one day I'm going to get that baseball sound back on this board, and we're going to have the right thing. All right. Thanks, Steve.
Take care.
Steve calling in. Hey, great big bushy beard. I might watch Hot Fuzz soon. Super Chat came in from Toy Mancer. Any game streaming soon? Still probably not. I feel bad. I feel as though I'm letting you down there with the Super Chat. Still probably not. I still might. Every once in a while, I have the thought. I have to. This is boring old man detail. I have 2 computers here that are laptops. So you got this one. You got this one. That's my podcast producing one, and then this is my live stream one. And then I got two computers over there, PC and a Mac Mini. And the PC is what I game stream on. I haven't used it for months, and I have to fire it back up. And I thought, well, for firing it back up, I have to do some voice acting stuff with it. Maybe we'll stream. When I gotta get that new MLB Show game. I think if I get enough allowance money saved up, definitely gonna get the new Madden. Maybe we'll get back. Maybe we'll get back to streaming. I'm not done with it. Okay. We got one more call lined up. This is great, actually. Peter Puffer. Hey, Peter Puffer, check it in. Check out the House of David baseball team for some epic beards. I'm glad you mentioned that. Jared the Type Pilot says, I like yelling football plays at you. Yeah, you're probably one of the reasons I quit. Sorry. We should talk about wrestling beards, too. I see Will McLean's comment there. Anyways, Peter Puffer is absolutely right. In the Ken Burns doc, I think it's episode 2, maybe 3, based on the years it was. Yeah, House of David was, we'll just say for the religious organization that's all. That's where I'll leave it at. Hard to get in or hard to get out, shall we say? A religious organization where once you're in, and there's some strict rules to follow, and you all live in the same place. But House of David would play baseball, and Babe Ruth famously barnstormed with them, and because part of the rules were you could not cut hair on your face, they all had long beards and hair, and it's fascinating. So Peter Puffer, thanks for checking in. Love seeing you new names pop up in chat, and love that. All right, we got a question, we got a call, and then I really do have to get going. But I did want to check. Thanks for helping me reach the super chat goal today. Yeah, I got to find out. All right, I'm going to end the Q&A, and this will remove all the questions in the list. Well, where's the questions, YouTube? Where? Oh, wait a minute. I found it. There is a separate chat room. I'm glad I did this. There's a separate chat room that I have to switch to see the answers. We figured it out, everybody. James Holmes says authentic haggis, which we talked about. Jared says test. I love that. 898 for him says, I want to do chicken feet, but I want to do something less otherizing for my food culture. Is American Chinese food controversial enough here as it is for Chinese folks? I'll come back to that in a second. Ryan Oven, thank you, Ryan, for checking in. Beanie Weenies, good food, bad food. I think it's more good than bad, but that's there. J&B says deep dish versus New York style. We just might do food wars. Quite frankly, producer Steve, take notes. We might do. I love that I'm bossing a volunteer around. I'm like Elon Musk. I want food wars. That might be what we just need to do. 898-4M said, again, I don't want to otherize your culture. Yeah, I agree with that. That might be taken, especially a dumb white guy like me might be part of the problem. But I'd be fascinated with it. But in terms of, is American Chinese food good, bad food? I mean, it's uber popular. I love Chinese food, but to your point, 898 for I'd be interested to have the discussion of, is it actually Chinese food? Is it dumbed down by the Chinese families and the restaurants for the American people? I'm fascinated with that kind of stuff because I think that happens. Case in point, Steve's right. This could get ugly. Oxtail says LQ. And I don't know. I always want to make sure I don't have a culturally insensitive conversation. But and I wish Kingsport Cal. Oh my God, this is the episode we needed Kingsport Cal on. There were several Mexican food restaurants, I believe, in the Johnson City area. And again, in a previous relationship, would spend time out in Johnson City, Tennessee. My girlfriend at the time was half El Salvadorian, and I know that's different than Mexico, to be clear, but we liked more than just burgers and fries, shall we say? So we were like, hey, let's go to this Mexican food restaurant. Oh my God, we miss Mexican food, and she had already been living out there while I was like, I miss good Mexican food in Tennessee. So we go to this restaurant. It was like called El Torito, but it wasn't a chain restaurant. It was just, and we went there, and Mexican family owned it. You walk in, and staff full of a lot of their family members, a lot of people. It was great to see, one bunch of actual, true Mexican people here in Tennessee working, and we were so excited. and it was the worst. And it was a packed restaurant on like a Sunday. Go with me here. Hope this doesn't get me canceled. We go in there, and it was some of the worst Mexican food we've ever had. It was absolutely some of the worst Mexican food. It was so bland. It was dry. And my theory to this day is that they knew they could get away with it, and they were smart to think so. They were making money. They weren't taking a lot of time preparing it, no, giving away no family recipes, nothing. And I think it was, I was like, I'm on to them. So all that to say, 894 AM, if we can have a conversation about that, and I get to ask my dumb white guy questions, because I love just going to, I'm not talking about Panda Express. There's a lot of Chinese restaurants around me here. I'm not talking like the good New York food, Chinese restaurant stuff that I hear about. I'm just talking about ones on the corner. Thai food around us. There's 2 great Thai restaurants too. And again, know the differences. But I'd be fascinated by this. All right, 898 4M. We might be ready for you. All right. 898 4M says, yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. See, I'm not wrong. No, it was the worst Mexican food. I've had worse food. Rich T asks, was it the worst Mexican food or worse? It was like the worst Mexican food I've ever had. I had like an enchilada and carne asada. Like, it was so bad I was happy. I was like, you were all doing this. You're all doing this because these Tennesseans are coming around here, and this is what they have no choice but to accept this, and you're making money off of it, and I was happy. But all right, okay, all right, 894M, yeah, it's a thing. I want to know more. Thank you for super chat, Brian Jackson, Mr. McClunky. Cheers to you and peeps in chat. Donut wars, yeah, donut wars, food wars, yeah, I think that. 898, or excuse me, Laserbolt says, you might not expect this, but Michigan has some awesome Mexican food. There are a lot of seasonal fruit workers here. Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. And as always, in LA, I love going to chain restaurants, and this is kind of part of it. Like Don Cuco's, amazing. Tequila's amazing. And it's all kind of the way it's packaged up for a Mexican restaurant in downtown Burbank, one of the whitest cities. And I mean that in the historically worst way. Burbank has a dark history. And to see, like, welcome to Don Cuco's, white person. You want to pretend that this is real Mexican food? Come on in. We'll take your money. But the best Mexican food in L.A., and there's a lot of it, is at the carts, at the taco stands. Our friend Dorina is an expert at finding this stuff, does her famous taco crawls, and I want to do that. Food Center, cake or yeast donuts? Oh, cake. There is a buttermilk glazed at Bob's Donuts at the Farmers Market, 3rd and Fairfax. It's a cake batter donut. Oh, my God, it's my favorite donut. It is my favorite donut. See, I'm telling you, food is the thing. Food is the thing. Brennan, hang on. I'm clearing some of these questions like I promised to get to. Dylan at the Dylan Barry Network. Check out the Dylan Barry Network. It's got some good content on there. I was swinging through it the other day. Dylan, have you been to Pantages Theater in Hollywood? I went last night for the first time, and when they opened the doors at the end of the show, the smell of Hollywood Boulevard street dogs flooded the theater. I have been to the Pantages Theater. I saw Moulin Rouge there. That's right, Addie. I saw a musical, and I enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun at Moulin Rouge a couple years ago. And I saw Steve Martin play bluegrass at the Pantages Theater. And yeah, there's some great cart food around there. Hollywood, yeah, I don't always love hanging out there. It can be a little chore to get there. But there are some great things to do if you're swinging through. Come on by, everybody. Come on by. Cake all the way, Vermont Mike, you know it, brother. Cake all the way. On the show now is our buddy Brennan Mystical Mar, host of Page Turners They Were Not. One of our favorite regulars around here. How you doing, Brennan?
I'm doing pretty good, all things considered.
All things considered. We'll take it. Now, I know, Brennan, you can't do dairy. I know that. But do you have any...
My stomach just can't handle it.
Do you have any, when it comes to, like, donuts or sweets, do you enjoy sweets? Any limitations in sweets? What's your donut thoughts?
Ooh, glazed.
Just a straight glaze? I respect it.
Yep, you got
it. Sometimes...
I wish
it can
I could eat berry right now, but,
Yeah. Hey, you're better
Stomach
for
can't
it.
handle it, so yeah.
I'm someone who eats cheese straight from a bag over a sink. It's not a pretty sight, Brennan. So what's on your mind tonight, buddy?
Well, dare I ask which El Torito you went to?
In Johnson City, Tennessee.
Oh, okay, not the
Yeah,
one that
no,
I went to. Okay, good.
no. There's an El Torito chain. There's a couple, or used to be a couple out in L.A. And if
Yeah, I've
anyone,
been to one of them. Yeah.
yeah, there's one in like Woodland Hills area that is
Yeah, that's the one I went to.
yeah, that's tied to Old Schmo's No lore. If anyone remembers one of the first interns on the Schmo's No Show, Shoesy Pants, my friend Joe Ruggiero, and he
Oh,
hated
yes.
that name.
You can't forget him.
That is actually where Joe and I first met as friends. A mutual friend was like, "Hey,
Nice.
my friend Joe is trying to get into stand up. Can he pick your brain?" And we met at that El Torito, and that led to him on the Schmo's. So there you go, Brendan.
and
You were at
that's
a
where I
famous
did.
historical spot.
That's what I did.
There you go.
And I went to the Nels Diner. I can't remember which one. I think
There's three.
it was in Burbank. I think the one I went to. I think.
There's not one in Burbank, but there's one
No,
in.
it's not in Burbank.
Yeah, it's on Ventura Boulevard, more Encino, Sherman Oaks area.
Yeah, I've got the one where the Wolves had George Lucas and
Yep. That's all. Yeah, there's
Wolfman
the.
Jack and all that stuff.
Yep, it's great. And the original one's on Sunset down the street from the Comedy Store. There's one on near Hollywood and Highland. Actually, we just talked about that one on Force Center. And then there's one in the Valley, which is a tinier one, but they've all got the same vibe. The one on Sunset, if anyone's in town too.
I believe that's the one I went to.
Yeah, it's speaking of fun places to go. It's kitschy. It's not the greatest food. The taco salad's good, and the butterscotch milkshake is great.
Well, that's
But-
interesting because I had
Yep.
the taco salad.
Well, see, Brennan, this is why we're friends. Just cut the cheese out, and you got a great one. And yeah, as a Star Wars fan, as a George Lucas fan, it's it's not like an official George Lucas. Yeah, but it's got a lot of history to American graffiti. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to eat at the. I don't know where they actually filmed. I think it was San Francisco.
All the
Where
American,
they filmed
yeah.
The
Yeah.
diner.
That's a great
in
question.
American graffiti.
Yeah, I don't know the exact one, but yeah, that's a great question. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff, man.
Speaking of good dad food,
Yes.
the bloomin' onion at Outback is one of my favorite things of all time.
Yeah, I would put it's like a subcategory of good bad food where I think a lot of people aren't going to retch or debate the value of the awesome blossom or anything of that nature, but it's one of those things that's like a worst glutton food that you love to have, it's like me and 7-Eleven pizza. I know I shouldn't have it.
Yeah.
But man, when I go down there and get 4 slices for $4, my life is happy for the next 20 minutes.
We're going out there on Monday, and that's one of my favorite places. Even though I'm sure there are better places out there.
But that's the thing, Brendan. You've unlocked one of the secrets to joy in life. It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be 5-star. If Outback's your place, that's your place. That's why I love celebrating the mid-level restaurants, the chain restaurants, the gas station sandwiches. It's big in my life because it brings joy, and that's better than a 5-star event.
Yeah, I agree. I can't remember what I was gonna say when I.
We're chopping it up. I don't know why that's my phrase of the night. We're chopping it up, Brendan. This is what we're doing. I appreciate your
As
call.
far as food,
Yeah.
I mean, that bloomin' onion is
It's special.
amazing.
I don't think I've had one. I really don't think I've had a bloomin' onion since the early 2000s. I really, honestly, I'm trying to run my head around it.
Well, if you come visit San Jose, I'll take you to one.
There you go. Because also there's the Awesome Blossom, which is Chili's, or was it Chili's? What was the
I
Awesome?
believe so.
And this is a weird true story, but I knew a friend of mine. She had a friend who was credited as like the creator of it or something like. It was pretty wild. The Awesome Blossom.
Interesting.
Brennan,
Yeah.
well, what was on your mind? Did I kick it out of your mind?
Well, no, I was just thinking that, I'm a big Oscars fan.
Okay.
I love the Oscars. I get really excited. I talk everyone's ear off about it.
Love it.
But this year, I'm not feeling it.
Why aren't you feeling it?
I've seen some of the movies. Dune 2 was great. Conclave was great.
So is it just the movies?
But
Just
the other ones I saw were just, they didn't work for me.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah, if it's a down year, you're not. It's not like you're.
Perez's I didn't like.
Yeah, and
Honora was too noisy, I thought.
so, yeah, obviously I don't.
Substance was
What?
insane.
I don't watch a ton of movies these days, but yeah, I could see it being a down year. It's a down year for the industry, man. A lot of less movies being made. Harder to see movies, harder to get movies out.
I just thought that 2023.
What was that year?
Incredible year. I thought.
What was the winner for 23?
Oppenheimer. There was also Dorothy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I thought that was an incredible year.
I love those years. My favorite.
Maybe I got spoiled. I don't know.
Look, my favorite year for movies, 1999. Great year for movies for me.
It's a good choice.
It's one of those years. Yeah.
Mine is 1982.
1982, great year.
1962.
Scott Mantz had put out a documentary about 92. Yeah, and I got a call. I asked Scott Mantz to put me in that doc, and he said he would. And I didn't get interviewed. Scotty Mantz, Scotty, I didn't get in your doc, man. I wanted to talk about E.T. I saw it in the theaters.
Next time I talk to him, I'll yell at
You
him.
tell him. You tell Scott Mantz, one of my favorite people in the world, that I wanted to be in that doc.
Yeah, this last year, 2024, I'm not feeling it, but I have to confess.
Yeah.
I have
Confess
not
away.
seen Wicked yet, but I do
Hold on.
own it.
Hold on. I just heard Addie clutch her heart. She just clutched her heart.
I
heard
do own it, so I'm going to watch it later.
Okay. You're going to watch it tonight? Mm-hmm. Well, Brennan, that's going to make you popular around these parts.
Oh, no.
All right? All right. Did you just say, oh, no?
Well,
Okay.
the only thing about the songs
Yeah.
is they're so catchy you can't get them out of your head.
That's why they're popular. I think that's okay.
Particularly that song. I'm just not feeling it this year.
Eli says Wicked is incredible. Don't you encourage him, Eli.
Eli is awesome.
Eli is awesome.
Eli
Well,
and I are going to have a nice little chat next week. So.
there you go. I am sorry, Brennan, that you are not feeling the Oscars this year, but you're still going to watch, right? Will you be our Oscar correspondent?
I may be hate watching, but I don't know.
Hey, there's people hate watching me every week. It's part of the fun of life.
Well, I'm not one of them.
I know. Brennan, thank you for the call. I appreciate you, and we'll hear from you soon. Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There you go, Brennan Mystical Marr, host of Page Turners. They Were Not. Peter Puffer says The Wild Robot is a great movie. I've been seeing those ads all around town. We're almost out of here. Dylan had another great question here. Dylan says, "What is the best place to get dinner on a date before Flappers in Burbank?" You know what? You should come to a show, Dylan. Say hi. I'm not doing a show this weekend at Flappers. I'll let you all know when I am. I think if you want to separate it, if you want to have a date, because Flappers has got great food. You've heard me talk about that before. It used to be a Maggiano's. It used to be an Italian eatery in downtown Burbank. Then it became a comedy club. So they still had the full kitchen, so they make a full menu, and they've got great food. I really believe that. But if you don't want to, it's sometimes awkward, to eat where you want to laugh and then you're cutting up your food and everything. So downtown Burbank's got some great stuff. I sound like a 70-year-old white man instead of a 48-year-old white man. But downtown Burbank is hopping, kids. Now, is it mostly chain restaurants? Yes. You can go to Wood Ranch. You don't need to go to Islands, but you could. There's a Yard House. It's all right. There's a Barney's, but that's better for after. But there's a Greek restaurant up on the main drag there, San Fernando Boulevard. A lot of choices. The thing is, Dylan, I would recommend Wood Ranch, but heavy barbecue might not be the thing for a date. I don't know, but choose a restaurant you can't miss in downtown Burbank. And then the great thing about Flappers, not only have drinks, they have great desserts. Plate of cookies. Get a plate of cookies. You're gonna have a good night. And then hopefully, me and the comics will be okay. So there you go. That is it. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the super chats. I'm going to get on out of here. This was a fun Saturday show. We fought the lies of Elon Musk. We fought the food wars and started it. I ranted about beards. We also found out that there was a point in my life in 2018 in which Amelia Clark and I made eye contact. I'll never forget it. She already has. Well, that's it. We'll see you next time here on The Blathering.